Jai Mata Di. The title of the video is Unlock Your Luck, a simple approach to analyzing Dasha in horoscope. We are referring to Dasha, Antardasha and Pratyantar Dasha. We are generally talking about the Vimshottari Dasha system. It is important to note, however, that Hindu Astrology includes many other Dasha systems, Rashi and planetary Dashas like Charadasha, Yogini Dasha and many other Dashas. The horoscopes promise are divided into two categories. The promise of a horoscope is divided into two categories, broadly divided into two categories. The first is the static promises, which define a person's overall destiny and are difficult to change. The static promises. The second is dynamic promises, which are represented by the Dasha system and change over time. The dynamic promises are the Dasha system and static promises are the promises embedded in your horoscope are the static promises, and dynamic promises are the Dasha promises. The dynamic promises, however, cannot override the static promises and must function within their limits. Means the promises, the Dasha system means Mahadasha, Antardasha and Pratyantar Dasha cannot change the static promises embedded in your horoscope with which you have taken birth. And dynamic promises give the result as per the promise within the ambit of the promise of the horoscope. The dynamic promises, however, cannot override the static promises and must function within their limits. Therefore, the results of your static promises are delivered to you through the changing dashas. The dasha system essentially acts as a carrier for the horoscope static promises. Means they carry the dasha carry the promises from the horoscopes and cannot override the promise in your horoscope. Dasha just carry the promises of your horoscope, means static promises of your horoscope. Understanding dasha with an analogy. Imagine I am explaining it very interestingly. Imagine the static promises of a horoscope as a warehouse filled with various goods. The dasha can be thought of as a goods train with 9 wagons. Just example. Each wagon represents an Antardasha, Bhuti, and the different types of 9 goods loaded into each wagon are the Pratyantar Dasha. Means we are comparing static promises of a horoscope as warehouse, from where the dasha system will carry the promises of the horoscope in the form of Mahadasha, means goods train, whole 9 wagon good strain as Mahadasha. Antardasha 9 wagon, each 9 wagon are 9 Antardasha, and 9 goods loaded in each wagon are the Pratyantar Dashas. The 9 wagon trains, the Mahadasha, arrives at the warehouse within bracket point of static promises at specific intervals. Because Mahadasha is a longer period, so the next Mahadasha will start after a specific period. It can only load the items horoscope promises that are available in the warehouse. These goods brought from the warehouse comparable to the static promises of a horoscope are then delivered to the individual, the native, from the 9 wagon goods train comparable to Mahadasha in a phased manner in the shape of Antardasha and Pratyantar Dasha. The 9 wagon goods train is comparable to Mahadasha. Each wagon are Antardashas, and 9 types of commodities loaded in a wagon are the Pratyantar Dasha of a Antardasha, and warehouse is comparable to your horoscope. I think there should be no doubt now about the modus operandi of how static promises of a horoscope are transformed into dynamic promises from Mahadasha, Antardasha and Pratyantar Dasha. When these were just examples for ease of understanding. When you talk about dashas, planetary periods in astrology, it is crucial to understand their hierarchy. The Mahadasha is at the top of the hierarchy, followed by Antardasha, the second level, and Pratyantar Dasha is the third level in the hierarchy of Dasha. Think of a Mahadasha as the main long-term planetary period. Within each Mahadasha are 9 shorter periods called Antardashas. Similarly, within each Antardasha are 9 even shorter periods known as Pratyantar Dasha. This is a fundamental concept for analyzing how and when events unfold. To visualize this, imagine a 9 wagon goods train. The entire train represents the Mahadasha. Each individual train wagon is an Antardasha. Now, picture 9 different types of items inside one of those train wagons. These items are the Pratyantar Dashas. The first Antardasha in any Mahadasha is always ruled by the same planet as the Mahadasha Lord itself. Means the first Antardasha in a Mahadasha is always of the Mahadasha Lord. For example, in Sun Mahadasha, the first Antardasha would be of the Sun. These items are the types of items inside one of those train wagons. Now picture this The first Antardasha in any Mahadasha is always ruled by the same planet as the Mahadasha Lord itself, and the same principle applies to Pratyantar Dashas within an Antardasha, where the first Pratyantar Dasha is of the Antardasha Lord. For example, in Sun Mahadasha, Moon Antardasha, the first Pratyantar Dasha would be of the Moon and not of the Sun. So, Pratyantar Dasha comes under Antardasha, and Antardasha comes under Mahadasha. Here is the clue lies I will explain, and which will make you to analyze Dasha system, the most complicated Dasha system in horoscope, easy. Understanding this nested structure is key to precise Dasha analysis. We can now summarize that Antardasha is of the Mahadasha, means Antardasha is directly under the Mahadasha. Since Antardasha emerges from the Mahadasha with the first Antardasha of the MDL itself, and Pratyantar Dasha is of the Antardasha, since Pratyantar Dasha emerges from the Antardasha with the first Pratyantar Dasha of the ADL itself. Here lies the secret and hidden clue how to analyze a Mahadasha, Antardasha and Pratyantar Dasha. Antardasha is subservient to Mahadasha, and Pratyantar Dasha is subservient to Antardasha. For an event to be triggered, it is not enough for just one of these periods to align. It requires a specific combination. For an event to manifest, the planetary period must align in a specific way. First, bulleted point. First, the Mahadasha Lord, means MDL, must activate the relevant house in the birth chart. For example, for a career-related event, for example, the MDL must activate the 10th house of professional career. Second bulleted point. Next, the Antardasha Lord ADL must also activate that same house. More importantly, the ADL must activate the 10th house from the position of the MDL. This dual activation is what allows the event to fully develop. Got my point? Means Antardasha Lord is expected to influence the concerned house, which is also being influenced by the MDL. In the example case, it is the 10th house of professional career. What is most important is that ADL must activate the 10th house from the position of the MDL. For example, in a Moon Mahadasha in Cancer sign, the 10th house from Moon will be Aries. So ADL must activate along with the 10th house from the Lagna, the Aries sign also, which is the 10th house from the MDL moon in the example case. Finally, the Pratyantar Dasha Lord must activate the house as well. Crucially, the PDL needs to activate the 10th house from the position of the ADL in the example case. This is final alignment of all three planetary rods is what precisely triggers the event. What we have seen, for example, I will show in a horoscope. No event will be triggered or results delivered without the above two-layered alignment within each of the individual three-layered alignments of the Vimshottari Dasha system. Remember, Antardasha is the fruit of the Mahadasha and Pratyantar Dasha is the fruit of the Antardasha in the three-tier Dasha system of MD, AD and PD. MD means Mahadasha, AD means Antardasha, PD means Pratyantar Dasha. These layered activation which continues down to even smaller periods like Shukshama and Pranadashas is the simple yet powerful formula that precisely determines the timing of an event. This method, while not widely known or taught, is essential for truly accurate astrological prediction. Means Suksham Dasha and Pranadashas are the most vital smaller period on which the promises of the Mahadasha, Antardasha, Pratyantar Dasha will be implemented by Shukshama and Pranadashas. These are very small periods, maybe running to only a few days, 2 days, 3 days, like that. Now let us apply our learning on the Dasha system to the Independence Day horoscope of India, the most accurate horoscope focusing on the political leadership changes in the country vis-a-vis the coinciding MD, AD, PD. Let us discuss one or two changes of political leadership of the country with the coinciding MD, AD, PD in the ID horoscope, means Independence Day horoscope of India. Take this to understand Mahadasha, Antardasha and Pratyantar Dasha. For example, in this horoscope with Taras ascendant, the 10th house is Aquarius. 10th house of professional career is Aquarius, isn't it? So, it is all hypothetical. I am telling example. So, in Rahu Mahadasha, Rahu is in the first house. So, in Rahu Mahadasha and Jupiter Antardasha, Jupiter will be must activate the 10th house. Here it is activating. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Through his fifth aspect Jupiter. Again, Jupiter is the Antardasha Lord hypothetically. From Jupiter, where is the 10th house? It is in Aries. As such, Moon, Mercury, Saturn, Venus, Sun, all are capable of giving career-related result in Jupiter Antardasha, because they are in the 10th house from the Antardasha Lord Jupiter in the example case, and they are with the natal 10th Lord from ascendant, that is Saturn. The most powerful is the Moon, because Moon is the 10th Lord in the 10th house. So, in Rahu Antardasha, if you want to predict when a person will get a professional career or a job, and if you see Rahu, Jupiter and Moon Mahadasha are prevailing, Rahu Mahadasha, Jupiter Antardasha and Moon Pratyantar Dasha are running, you can make a prediction that the native will get a job, because from Rahu the 10th house is Aquarius, and Jupiter, our hypothetical Antardasha Lord, has been aspecting the 10th house from the Mahadasha Lord as well as from the Lagna. Means 2 layer. Antardasha Lord must activate 2 layered promises, and the 2 layered promises are here from Rahu as well as ascendant. Moon from Jupiter in the Pratyantar Dasha of Moon. Moon is with the natal 10th Lord Saturn, and Moon is again the 10th Lord from the Antardasha Lord Jupiter, and is in the 10th house. This is called the 2-layer examination or analysis of a horoscope for precise prediction. Now let us proceed. Please note that we are discussing about the leadership change. Please note this. Please note that the 9th house is the house of leadership. Why? Because the 9th house is the house of Guru, preceptor. And what is a leader? Leader is seen as Guru or preceptor. So 9th house is the house of leadership. And the 11th house, the third from the 9th, 11th house is always third to the 9th from the 9th house. 5th house, 9th from the 9th house. The 4th house, 8th house from the 9th house of disgraceful exit from the leadership, and the 8th house, 12th house from the 9th house. 8th house is naturally the 12th house from the 9th house. Are the houses signifying changes in the leadership. Moreover, the 9th house itself signifies changes and transformation. Keeping these things in mind, now we will be analyzing the horoscope, ID horoscope of India in two cases where leadership changes were taken place, had taken place. First example, Sri Narendra Modi took over as the PM on 26 May 2014 by taking over charge from Sri Manmohan Singh, the former PM, involving a change in the political leadership of the country during Sun Ketu Venus Mahadasha in the ID horoscope of India. Means Sun Ketu Venus Mahadasha affected the change in leadership. The MDL Sun has been aspecting the 9th house and is with the 9th Lord Saturn of the political leadership. The MDL Sun is the 4th Lord and is the 8th Lord of changes from the 9th house of political leadership. I will show in the horoscope also. See the horoscope. When the change of leadership took place, it took place during Sun Mahadasha. Sun is with the 9th Lord Saturn in the 3rd house, and Sun is also aspecting the 9th house of leadership and leadership changes. Sun is the 4th Lord. From where? From the ascendant. Isn't it? So, Sun is the 8th Lord, 7, 8, 8th Lord from the 9th house. From the 9th house. So, what 8th Lord can do? It can give changes. See? The 4th house within bracket 8th house from the 9th house is for leadership change. Now let us come to Antardasha. The ADL Ketu is in the 7th house of Scorpio in the sign of Mars. ADL Ketu will act on behalf of Mars since it is a shadowy planet. Mars has been aspecting the 8th house of Sagittarius, which is the 12th house of changes from the 9th house of political leadership. Mars is also aspecting the 9th house of Capricorn. Secondly, from the MDL Sun in Cancer, the 9th house is Pisces, ruled by Jupiter. From the 9th house of Pisces, from the MDL Sun, ADL Ketu is in the 9th house of Scorpio of leadership and change in the leadership. Let us revisit the horoscope. See, it is the 9th house. Ketu Antardasha. So Ketu is a shadowy planet. It is in the 7th house. Scorpio. And Scorpio is ruled by Mars. So Ketu will act on behalf of Mars. We have to examine the role of the Mars. Mars is aspecting 8th house. You see, it is 8th house. 8th house is the 12th house from the 9th house. So, Ketu, ADL, acting on behalf of Mars can affect change in the leadership. Mars is also aspecting the natal 9th house of leadership. Now, the second promise, the most important promise. Sun is the MDL. From Sun, the ninth house is Pisces. Count, it is the seventh house. Opposite house is the seventh house. From MDL Sun, the opposite house is the seventh house. And and Pisces, extremely sorry. And Pisces is the ninth house. 7, 8, 9th, ninth house. Ninth house is the house of leadership, as well as ninth house is the house of changes. From Pisces, the Ketu is in the ninth house of changes. So it fulfills both the changes in the leadership, first through his Antardasha, first through his sign lord, and secondly through his placement. PDL Venus is with the ninth lord and is in the ninth house of Cancer. From the ADL Ketu in Scorpio, signifying leadership and leadership change. Let us revisit the horoscope. Who is the PDL? Means Pratyantar Dasha Lord? Venus. It is with the ninth lord of leadership and leadership changes. Since it is afflicted, it will give leadership changes also. Venus is aspecting the ninth house of leadership. From ADL Ketu, it is the most important point. From ADL Ketu, the ninth house is Cancer. 7, 8, 9. Ninth house is Cancer and Venus is in the ninth house, signifying change in the leadership. It is the double analysis. Once from the Lagna and second time in the case of Antardasha Lord from the Mahadasha Lord, and in the case of Pratyantar Dasha Lord from the Antardasha Lord. The significant, they should activate the significant house. Second example, a change in the political leadership took place when Sri Manmohan Singh took charge of the Prime Minister from Sri Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji on 22/5/2004 during Venus Saturn Moon Dasha in the ID horoscope of India. MDL Venus, ADL Saturn, PDL Moon are together in Cancer, and they are aspecting the ninth house of leadership and leadership change, with the ADL Saturn himself being the ninth lord. Venus Saturn Moon, Mahadasha Lord Venus, Saturn is the Saturn, Venus Saturn Moon, all are together with the ninth lord of leadership changes, and they are afflicted. Moon and Venus are afflicted, so they will affect leadership change, and they are expecting the ninth. Now, the most important point, who is the Antardasha Lord? Saturn. From Venus, the ninth house is Pisces. ninth house is Pisces, and Antardasha Lord is Saturn. Saturn is the 8th Lord also from the Mahadasha Lord Venus. It is the 7th house from the Mahadasha Lord Venus, and it is the 8th house from the Mahadasha Lord Venus, and Saturn is the Antardasha Lord. So it is in the 12th house from the 9th house from the MDL Saturn, from the MDL Venus. So it is two-way examination, and it is confirmed that during Venus Saturn the leadership changes will take place. Now comes the turn of Moon. Moon we have already seen, it is with the 9th Lord and aspecting the 9th house. From Pisces, from Pisces 9th house, from the ADL Saturn, Moon is in the 5th house as the 5th Lord. It is with Sun, who is the 8th Lord. Now it is with Sun, it is with Venus. No, it is with Saturn, who is the 8th Lord from the ADL Saturn, and Moon is the Pratyantar Dasha Lord. So it will affect the changes in the leadership, because it has conjunction with the 8th Lord from the Antardasha Lord Saturn, and 8th house is the 12th house of changes of leadership in the 9th house of the 9th. MDL Venus, ADL Saturn, PDL Moon are together in Cancer, we have seen, and they are respecting the 9th house of leadership and leadership change, with ADL Saturn himself being the 9th Lord. The 9th house from ADL, PDL, 9th house from MDL, ADL, PDL in Cancer is the Pisces. We know from Cancer the 9th house is always Pisces. From Cancer, ADL Saturn is the 8th Lord for his Aquarius Lordship, and therefore is the 12th Lord from the 9th house of Pisces. Aquarius is the 12th house from the 9th house of Pisces. From the MDL Venus. Similarly, PDL Moon is with ADL Saturn, who is the 12th Lord from the 9th house of Pisces, from the ADL Saturn. Thus, the three-layered Dasha system fully justified the event. Sorry. I hope I can clear the complex gamut of the three-layer Vimshottari Dasha system in a two-pronged analysis, in a simple approach to the best of my ability. It was two-pronged analysis, one from the Lagna, other from the Dasha Lord. In the case of Antardasha, from the Mahadasha Lord, and in the case of Pratyantar Dasha, from the Antardasha Lord. In this way, it was a two-pronged analysis. apply my simple approach of Saroj Jyotish Paddhati to the horoscopes and observe the stunning outcome. In case of any doubt, please comment. I will clear the doubt, and I will reply and clear the doubt. It is assured. In case of any doubt, the viewer may comment and I will clear the doubt. Best wishes, a cool astrological author, analyst and researcher. It is my research for examining Antardasha and Pratyantar Dasha respectively from the Mahadasha and Antardasha. Best wishes again. Please comment. In case of any doubt, I will clear the doubt.